Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is the show of people. Believe our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's all we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that will feel happen like our blue skies. I love to make people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play your role, get where you need to. You can tune in from work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait? It's a time calling. It's a show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is the show of people. Believe our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's all we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that will feel happen like our blue skies. I love to make people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB.
Good morning, Belize. Welcome to the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for today, Tuesday, the 10th of December, 2024. Wherever you are, we hope that your Tuesday morning is getting off to a beautiful start. Of course we do. You know, we're not bad people. We want you to get up and have energy and be full of life. Your energy, of course, through the roof. Your vibrations positive. Your health, the priority. So we hope you're in good shape, feeling well. We're glad you're here to start your day. Selfishly, that matters to us. And that you've got some time that you can afford us. We know your morning routine might be a little bit hectic, but share a bit with us. This is Crime Radio, XTV. I'm Mose Hyde. This is Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes, and we get started here with what you know to be the preliminaries. So we want to welcome everybody, whether they listen to we, everybody, whether they watch we, everybody online, those getting us via our apps, those getting us via social media streams and simulcast coverage. Right now, we got a bit of news for you. Of course, that's what we do weekday mornings. But before we jump into that, we've got your weather forecast. The National Meteorological Service tells us what kind of day we can expect. And we've got forecaster Francisco Wellington to do the honors this morning. Kick it off, Francisco.
Generally fair weather prevails, but an approaching cold front will bring changes later today. Skies will be cloudy at times today and tonight. Showers will be isolated and then will increase along with thunderstorms mainly along the coast tonight, increasing around the country tomorrow morning. On Wednesday and Wednesday night, skies will be mostly cloudy with a few showers, spurts of rain, and isolated thunderstorms around the country. Winds today will blow from the east at 5 to 15 knots and seas will be moderate. High tides will occur at 5:36 this morning and 5:37 this evening. High tides follow at 11:28 this morning and 12:44 tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon will peak at 73 Fahrenheit up in the Maya Mountains, 85 along the coast, and 87 inland. The moon will rise at 1:26 this afternoon and the sun will set at 5:19 this evening. In the sargassum forecast, impacts, if any, from sargassum will continue to be minimal as observations show little to no sargassum over our area. And that's the latest from the Belize Weather Bureau. Do have a pleasant day.
The first private radio in Belize, 1989. Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
And now making the headlines this morning at Monday's press briefing, ACP Gilberto Romero told the media that so far, their investigations into the 10-person traffic fatality have revealed that the Toyota Corolla with 9 people ran a police checkpoint on the road. Later, the car would swerve into the lane of the SUV transporting 4 people.
Police responded to a road traffic accident in San Ignacio. Upon arrival, they saw a Toyota car, a Ford SUV, and a motorcycle extensively damaged. The Ford car was seen engulfed in flames, and information was that several persons were trapped inside the car. Fire personnel were called to the area. Police assisted with the scene. When the flames were under control, the bodies of 8 male persons were taken out of the car. They were identified as Genesis Parham, Shailene Lopez, Jazeli Lopez, Kylene Pinello, Dennis Williams, Abigail Bradley, Jahim Iglesias, and Amy Hernandez. Also seen were the lifeless body of Alessandro Carrillo and Jasmine Rodriguez. Investigation is that there were 9 persons in the Toyota car. There was 1 person on a motorcycle, and at some point the SUV and the car collided on the highway, causing the fatal injuries to the 10 persons I mentioned.
Can we know the name of the motorcycle driver?
The driver of the motorcycle is Alessandro Carrillo.
And the other 4 people in the other vehicle?
Okay, the Ford SUV was being driven by Frank Burns, accompanied by his wife, Janelle Burns, and their 2 children. Frank Burns and Janelle Burns were treated at the KHMH and remain in a stable condition, and the 2 children were treated and released.
Kenneth Mortis of the National Fire Service spoke of the quick response time of fire personnel regarding the explosion of the Toyota Corolla.
So initially that call was made at the station at the 99 headquarters at 22:19 or 10:19 p.m. at 10:24, the first fire truck arrived on the scene and they made a sit rep as to what was found. You rightfully mentioned we had city council from the Kaya district involved. We had an ambulance dispatch from Benke to assist in that mass casualty situation. Between the twin tongues of St. Helena and St. Ignacio, they both dispatched a fire truck and 2 ambulances. We had an ambulance from the Spanish Record community and the St. Ignacio Community Hospital. They also dispatched an ambulance. We had off-duty personnel both from the Spanish Record community in terms of firefighters. We had the entire Cayo crew firefighters off duty that responded. I would say easily we had an approximate 20 to 25 emergency responding personnel on that scene.
Despite the quick response from fire personnel, all the occupants of the car and the motorcyclists had already perished.
By the time we got there, they were basically already dead. We just found a blaze. We just found a car fully engulfed in flames. And on responding, we were informed that there were bodies involved. I mean, if you look at the response time, we took approximately 5 minutes. I mean, luckily, the time of the day, it didn't have a whole lot of vehicular traffic, so response time definitely was not a factor. It was just what we saw on arrival, the magnitude and the extent that it was already in. An explosion definitely occurred. That contributed again to the rapid rise of that fire. So that in itself, that was a tragedy in itself. You had the impact. Looking at the impact, we knew that this car flipped. This car flipped, fire erupted, an explosion occurred. It was just something out of a Hollywood movie, so to speak,
Counseling services will be offered to fire personnel who responded to the scene. Chief Transport Officer Leon Gentle took all the difficult questions. He was asked if the accident could have been avoided if there had been stricter enforcement. He first noted that a transport officer actually lost a loved one in the accident.
I wouldn't call it similar. Well, I wouldn't just say that it was a failure of enforcement, but there are so many factors that played into that. In our discussions today, one of the factors was for us to look at basically what we would analyze as what happened on that particular night. The first thing that was wrong, in my humble opinion, was a decision that was made to have 9 persons in a vehicle. Blowing past a checkpoint would have been an element that would be lack of resources and not necessarily a lack of enforcement. The level of enforcement was there and there was some evasion of that enforcement. What I see needs to happen is for us to take a proactive approach. And that has been lacking, where we start to educate and start to push a different frame, speak a different language, take a different approach than just enforcing the normal things that a driver should do. One of the first initial reaction that I had was the fact that, like you rightfully said, how could 9 people be sitting in a vehicle, a sedan, a car? That was my first initial reaction. The second reaction was, if they were coming from across the border, if that was where it initially oriented, we can only assume, because we don't know the facts, that there must have been liquor involved. Hence the reason for trying to evade the checkpoint, because obviously there would have been a level of enforcement there. As it relates to not wearing a seatbelt, 9 persons can't wear a seatbelt in a vehicle. So, of course, that element also would have promoted them to or hindered them from wanting to stop at the checkpoint. So I do believe at some point there are factors that are involved in this matter that, in my humble opinion, would not only be a level of enforcement, but also a personal decision.
The sanitation contractor for the Belize City Council has resumed the collection of garbage as per its normal schedule. Excuse me. The company had been on a go-slow for 1 week, while both parties were mum last week on Monday Mayor Bernard Wong confirmed to Creme News XTV that they had, excuse me, that they had a verbal agreement with the company from the first part of this year, and it is his position that the company walked back on that agreement. He showed us their records where they paid the company $40,000 weekly as opposed to the $65,000 weekly fee. According to Mayor Wagner, they were starting to pay back the regular weekly fee in December, which they did. We apologize for not being able to give you that clip. Meeting with the Prime Minister is still set for Wednesday as the Council hopes that central government will still provide some assistance with the outstanding $650,000 owed for the months it was paying less than the regular payment. The Mayor says the delay is in the introduction of tax reform contributed to some hiccups regarding the Council's revenue. He also insists on the collection of a garbage fee and would want this introduced before he leaves office in 2 years. The government of Belize on Monday announced the first ever general sales tax waiver for the Christmas. GST is charged at 12.5%. The GST tax-free days will be for 2 weekends only, December 14th and 15th and December 21st and 22nd, and will apply only to local retail sales and all standard-related goods. Additionally, for all of December, all imported picnic shoulder hams, smoked ham legs, and imported turkey will be zero-rated. We spoke with Belize Tax Service Director General Michelle Longsworth to find out what all goods the waiver will apply to and what it won't apply to. Most basic foods and locally produced items are zero-rated, and so those will not be impacted.
This is a high spending season. We know how Belizeans are. Christmas is a big thing for us. And so it's not only about the food items, it's about the gifts that you want to buy for your loved ones. It's for that new TV that you want to put in your house. It's for that sofa set. It's for the paint that you want to buy to paint your walls. It's for the materials, the construction materials that you want to buy to fix whatever it is that you want to fix your house. So it's for everything. And I think that is what Belizeans on a whole look forward to during the Christmas time, because many of us go out of our way to get that little additional money to buy or children or spouses or loved ones that special gifts. And I think now more that we can, it will be easier for them to see, wow, I can actually go out and buy more than I thought I could because I will be getting or not having to pay the 12.5% GST on it. So they definitely will spend more, and I think have a more enjoyable Christmas that way with the things that they want. So it does not apply to goods that are being imported. So at the point of importation right now, on those dates, you will still pay your GST. It will not apply to wholesale. So if you're selling wholesale, you still have to charge the GST. It will not apply to goods on consignment. It will not apply to goods on credit installments, and hire purchases. It will not apply to those. It will not apply to orders for goods that are not in stock. So you can't order something for next month or something like that. It won't apply to that. It will not apply to motor vehicles, gasoline, LPG, diesel, guns, ammunition, cigarettes, and alcoholic beverages. It will not apply to those. All right, so in short, only local, retail, immediate, and final sales of goods available for immediate delivery are eligible.
The tax-free days will also not apply to services including restaurant services. Longsworth explained that the measure is part of reform they have undertaken. She shared that they tested out the measure beforehand and described the GST tax-free days as an impactful policy decision that directly benefits taxpayers and businesses.
So the tax-free days are trends that we have been looking at since we started to receive our information digitally. Taxpayers have been submitted their information online, payment online, returns online. We have also been linked to a Sekuda World looking at importation of data, etc. So it's looking at the trend and the economic impact it has that we were able to provide sufficient data to government to show that the Belize Tax Service will meet its revenue target, and at the same time, government can provide some initiative or some incentive to taxpayers. So I don't think we should look at it like a loss, Marisol. I think we look at it more as giving persons more money to spend. On a regular weekend, we at the Belize Tax Service collect, let's say, 2 to 2.5 million in GST. Now, for these tax-free days, which is the 14th and 15th, the 21st and the 22nd, we estimate, or we are projecting, I think it's 2.5. So you're looking at $5 million over these 2 weekends for people to make use of. But at the same time, we are putting back 12.5% in people's pocket. So we know this is a high season for spending. So people will have more money to spend at the end of the day. So it's kind of a like balancing off, because the more people spend, the more we have the ability to collect back. This is a high spending season. We know how Belizeans are. Christmas is a big thing for us. And so it's not only about the food items, it's about the gifts that you want to buy for your loved ones. It's for that new TV that you want to put in your house. It's for that sofa set. It's for the paint that you want to buy to paint your walls. It's for the materials, the construction materials that you want to buy to fix whatever it is that you want to fix your house. So it's for everything. And I think that is what Belizeans on a whole look forward to during the Christmas time, because many of us go out of our way to get that little additional money to buy our children or spouses or loved ones that special gifts. And I think now more that we can, it will be easier for them to see, wow, I can actually go out and buy more than I thought I could, because I will be getting or not having to pay the 12.5% GST on it. So they definitely will spend more, and I think have a more enjoyable Christmas that way with the things that they want.
Long would explain that it will be simple for businesses to comply with the new measure.
We don't see it as that, and that is why we had to test it first, because simply applying the 12.5% as a discount, as a normal discount that a business may give, you will still leave the standard rated products within your POS system. You won't reprogram, you won't do anything. But just like how you apply a discount being offered by your business, you will apply the 12.5% as a discount. So, on GST receipts, it should show the total cost, then what is the GST you're paying. So taxpayers now will have to check their receipts to ensure that that GST amount is deducted, or they do not pay that.
And that ends this morning news update. We will take ourselves a break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to open up for conversation. You're listening to Creme Radio, you're watching XTV. We will be right back.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. The news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and
right, welcome back to the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Mose hosting today, Tuesday, 10th December 2024. And this is where the conversation begins. This is where your participation is encouraged, invited, desired, all these things. We love when you are here and activated. And our telephone line for you to be activated is at 280-5848. That's a direct line for you to participate in the conversation. And we firstly just want to remind you, before we get into the deeper end this morning, that we kicked off our annual Christmas production last night, and it continues right up until Sunday night. And last night we were very honored to have the great legend himself, the mighty Lord Abraham, who's been a part of the production every year except maybe one. And that Christmas production has been going on over 2 decades. And so that was what was kicked off last night. Lord Abraham kicking it off in grand style. Give thanks to the legend, champ. We have a call. Krem, good morning, WUB.
Yeah, Mose, morning.
Good morning, sir.
I want to come before the call get in. Listen, I did listen to some of this media houses with this accident where happened to Benke. It seems, my understanding were together, that then try to blame the guy where the amount of people made in the car. I don't understand. There is no law in the city where say, I want to go have 1 people in our vehicle, or 10 people, or 5 people, or 6 people. Man, make the facts clear out before we start to speculate. You understand where they say? There's a tragedy already. But my understanding, everybody try to put the blame on the amount of people in the car. They don't know if that them people cause the car. No, because I have 9 or 10 people in one vehicle. That's me, not me cause the accident. It could be the other vehicle.
Yeah, I think the police report, which we didn't have yesterday when we were having the conversation, seems to be suggesting that, and again, the problem with that is that anybody who would have a version of this accident, this incident, was in the car, we don't have their version, because there's nobody that's
This is my point.
But what again, I don't know how the police, I imagine they would have gotten this from the survivors, but the report that they gave is that this vehicle ran a checkpoint. Again, this is just the police report. I'm not here, I have to acknowledge the police report. They gave that report, and then they also gave the report that, based on their investigation so far, is that this vehicle, the taxi, lost control. Now again, this is not something that was, there's no videotape evidence of this, and we just have to acknowledge the police report. I agree with you that ultimately what we're looking at is that I don't know what the law says on this. I do know that all our vehicles come with the recommended number of people that are to be in it and the weight that the vehicles are to carry. So even if there's not a law in place, there is a limit to what any particular vehicle can take, and I don't think we need a law to know. I mean, most people know what a Toyota Corolla is, and to have 9 persons, I think, based on what we've seen, 8 adults and a child, that goes beyond what any logical mind would feel we should have inside a Toyota Corolla. Now, whether or not that is what led to the accident, we don't know that specifically, but ultimately what we do know, caller, and you have to admit this, is that whether or not they were at fault in the collision, definitely having that number of people in that vehicle is what led to just the number of people who perished. And also, again, we don't need a law to know, listen, the vehicle, if you have that number of individuals in a vehicle, it's not possible for everybody to be seatbelt in. So that's out, and so you have that problem as well. I think we have not spent any time trying to say, listen, blame this driver or that driver. I think what our position has been is that we have a very zoomed out position. Listen, we have been experiencing this carnage, and in fact, if I know that you have called this show, so I know that this is a show you listen to occasionally. You're not a just come to WB, so I'm confident that you would know that we have been speaking about this issue about the carnage on our highway, specifically dealing with the motorbikes and the number of people who are perishing. And our view of it is that we have not observed the kind of comprehensive, proactive response from all the agencies that should be aligned. And in fact, we have gone beyond just looking at enforcement or looking at the transport. We feel like this is also a public health situation, because we are losing a lot of our productive aged individuals, citizens. And I felt that is also included into this should be the Ministry of Health and Wellness. This is a wellness thing. And so I feel that to some extent you have a point that, especially right now, but human nature is when something like this happens, we want to find the villain. We want to say, well, this is the bad guy in this, the person who was driving this car, this is the person responsible.
Yeah, but everybody have an open mind. I think you just can't jump to one conclusion because the police said that don't mean that the version too. Mm-hmm. Because police make mistake, authorities make mistake.
So it's very unlikely that we will know exactly what happened. We will just have to, based on the report. But there are certain things which, obviously, we all agree. We don't doubt. That this car had 9 people in there, and I don't know again if the law. I know that we only recently changed the law to insist that you have to have on a seatbelt. I mean, we just did that. So it's possible that we don't even have a law that says you are only allowed to have the number of people as recommended by a particular make to be in that vehicle. I don't know if that is in the books. I don't know if you can be charged for taking too many people in a car. I have no idea. But what I do know is that as individual car owners, that we have to understand that even if there is no law, having a certain number of people in your vehicle puts a certain stress just from the physical standpoint of steering, controlling. It's not ideal, my brother. It's really not ideal. So I don't know that you can make a point that this is not something that was wrong. That was wrong. No, I don't know that this is the reason why the collision happened. But definitely it led to the number of people who were exposed to the collision and unfortunately and tragically lost their lives. And I think part of your point I quickly concede to, and we have tried to avoid that. It is not a time to say we want to find the individual who is the villain, because this is not somebody who went on was a mass murderer, wanted to kill people, wanted to injure people, wanted to die along with all these people. This was just and all of us, let me not say all of us, maybe you have some unique individuals who have never done anything that was ill-advised on the roads. I am not one of those. I have done ill-advised things while driving. Most of us have. And we have gotten away with it. But unfortunately, the way how probability goes is that eventually, most of us doing ill-advised things consistently is going to produce a result that is very painful. And so we have to look at ourselves as well to see. And somebody was telling me that you know, and somebody I have great respect for was pointing out that they felt that in our conversation yesterday we were just talking more about personal choices rather than also holding the authorities accountable. You know, the people who are responsible for it.
To that point, that's my next point. Want me to come to?
Okay, go ahead, sir.
The millions of dollars we will spend on roads. We no got no reflectors on the road. We no got no line in the middle and on the two end. You when they do the hummingbird, how the hummingbird light up the night with the lines and the reflectors, no care how another vehicle from opposite direction they come and they give you a high beam. You could still stay in your lane because due to the reflectors and the line. The amount of money we will spend in the road, we need to get the work out of the road where we spend $1 million per mile. So don't let you have to build a new road. The road don't build already. You just put what tar on it, layer tar and for that. So I don't understand why is that to continue the kind of scam with taxpayers' money, because they will blame that then it causes all of this problem. The population will grow, you will have more accidents and you will have more crime. Once the population go, you will have more accidents and have more crime. That's a fact. You can't run from that. But we can minimize it if we do the right thing. We spend millions of dollars and the road we don't have halogen like where people they use no panic high beam. When you beam you, man, you can see, but if you got the road with the reflectors and the yellow line in the middle and on the two end, no care how the high beam they blind you, you will see the road stay clear.
Yeah.
Due to the reflectors and the
I think again, you know, our esteemed contributor, Ms. Sandra Coe, has a frequent theme in her call is that we have to be serious, and it's not just one or individuals, but especially people who are in charge, who are at the helm, who have the wheel in their hands. But we all have to be serious, and we have to be serious because the problems that we face are not waiting for you. They don't give you a timeout. You know, like when you're in a football game or a basketball game, especially a basketball game, when the score to go wrong, you could call on timeout and regroup. One society can't call timeout, and it can't say I only deal with this problem here, I only have hands for this, because everything is coming at you at the same time. So you're not afforded the luxury to take time off, to be unserious. You know, yes, we have to deal with so many different things, the challenges of 2024. But if you see a trend where people are dying on the highway, and we have accepted that we have a part to play, but leadership has this ultimate responsibility to really chart the way forward. And it's not everything you come up with is going to work, but we want to see that you are that you are awake and that you are focused. Even when listen, you know, it's like, I don't know, you own a car?
Yeah.
You own a car. Listen, they're not credit card and mechanic, they're not right away with sometimes the things when they try fix the problem. There is a process, but you're focused on it. You understand? Listen, we have to get to the root of this problem because we cannot allow it to just continue. We've spent mornings here, brother, where we say, but we not hear from anybody. Like the statistics to come out, like nobody they say, well, listen, the media has a responsibility. We have to keep the issue. We have to make sure people understand. Listen, you have to do your part. You have to be conscious, but where are they? Is there anybody at the wheel in dealing with something like this? Because a brother called in yesterday, I think he made a point. He said, listen, you can't go and buy a motorbike in Taiwan without sign up for learn how to ride a motorbike. That's just common sense. People want to use motorbikes because they are cheaper, and so you can't stop that. That's a logical choice to make, but it's also a high risk choice. So you look at the society and say, okay, you know who are the people who are bringing in the bikes. Can we collaborate insofar as motorbike handling guidelines and support? Let us partner, because we have to make this safer. Like, we never would hear that. Week after week we come here, we not hear that, we not hear that. And so now everybody have something to say now, because we know we broke one record where we not like that we broke. We have 10 people die in one horrific incident, one horrific collision, and now we kind of like perk up about it, that way they go on. But will we be talking about it next week?
Nope.
Will we be here having any conversation about the fact that we don't maintain the paint on the road, the reflectors on the road? We only do it when the road is just built. Will we maintain talking about the fact that we need to have proactive checkpoints that are about trying to see if people are sober? Do we ensure that we look legislatively to make people who are reckless and who insist that they are going to drive vehicles while drunk, that there is you would say consequences that match the danger of their behavior? Like these are conversations where you have to continue, even though you continue the other conversations, even though you have to deal with every other thing where you have to deal with. You have to deal with the price of goods, you have to deal with the safety of the community and safety of people in the streets. You have to be worried about how you want to ensure that more people come, because that's how we make some money. You have to ensure that sugar is all right and citrus rebound. We have to concern about the quality of fishing stock and the plight for the fisher folk. You have to worry about climate change. You have to worry about balancing the economy. You have to worry about what Trump is going to do. You have to worry about what it is, the implications of us being at the ICJ. You have to worry about the quality of education that our children are getting in dealing with the new reality of artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence agents. These are things you don't get one chance to take on time out for, separate and say when I get wrong to it. That's why there is no room at all for unserious behavior, no room at all to lose focus, because it's like you're under siege whether you want to accept it or not. And you have to be concerned that young men, a lot of, and young women as well, in their 20s and 30s, because they're using motorbikes, are ending up in the morgue. My God, we have one of the top performers in the Coast Guard recruit, and she's gone. Like, she's gone. She was obviously an outstanding, my goodness, you can't just sit down and just again pay a check while you have mayhem and carnage. Like, get on it, step up, and make we hear you, and make we feel you, and then we could fill in, and we could follow, and we could engage, and we could support. But don't left we out here. Not left we out here. There's been no, I mean, my God, simple things like find somebody somewhere. We are always finding a consultant for 1,000,001 things. Well, find a consultant who know how to create one motorbike improving educational campaign and get them in front of the cameras and get them behind microphones and show with that somebody is at the wheel. That's what we deserve. That's what we should get. And we don't start talking about this after 10 people died this weekend. We've been talking about this literally for a couple of months.
Oh, well, so no, station always talk about it more. That's why I listen to one station, and I always try to point out.
We have
some media. They barely say anything.
Morning Stew, Frisco Groove, Lisa, they're on it. They're talking about the lights that people are facing when they're on the road. They're talking about the kind of craziness going on the highways. Like but we are not experts. We don't want to sound like we have the ideas and that we got, that we are the smartest. No, it's like we just got a responsibility to put on a light. Looking at something there where we not like. What we gonna do? Respect, yeah, man. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Like, yes, I believe that in the absence of thoroughness and the absence of, comprehensive game plan, like, we still have personal choice, and personal choice matter to me because of my power. I have one power officer, listen, I want to reduce my speed on the road. WB, good morning.
Yes.
Yes, brother.
Take the name off of the old highway and everybody have free up their mind and free up.
Take what?
Go see that they hit. But they go some both see that they hit the guy crazy, you know. You don't want guys crazy, but they happen so. Once you take the name off of the two highway, I bet you, I'll tell you that long time, I'll death after death. They put on a name to appease somebody. What 10th of September, the Prime Minister Barrow did that. Then they put up a, nobody go on that solid highway, you know. And they change that to that people para. Take their name off and let them back that Western and Northern and whatever they may call it. Let them go.
All right, brother. Yeah, so there were traffic fatalities on the highways before they were named. I mean, that's a kind of superstitious position, and I can't. I just don't agree that the problem. But everybody entitled to how they view things. I know got a kind of superstitious thing. I feel that named or unnamed, if we don't change, if we don't organize for a better result, this continues. You know, better results not just come because we call in from a talk show or a talk show host veil up, or because we're sad or because we experience pain. Unfortunately, if we not organize how we respond, and if we don't make changes, then unfortunately we will be here again. Maybe it's not, and we shouldn't need for have to lose so many people at one time for us to recognize that we must do better, because indeed we lose a lot of precious human resource, and we lose a lot of the young, on the road, productive people, talented people, beautiful people that should not be gone so soon. We don't come here to stay, but losing our young is just extremely unacceptable. We lost you, caller. What we're going to do, you know, just people have sent messages. I've not been able to really, but it's important that, you know, we don't just want to talk about this for a couple of days and then this is no longer of interest to us, right? WB, good morning.
Yes, Mr. Yeah, show.
You're on the show, brother.
Okay, no, I need to say an accident. I say when I used to go to the border had trouble to catch body right after 9:10 because the border closed earlier, and no taxi man no there, the dark when they people must try to catch a taxi, I couldn't catch one and have to load up in the people. I don't know if you go on the border. After 10, that trouble you could walk right across the border.
Yeah.
Nobody, no taxi, nothing there. They closed the border too soon.
Yeah.
At least 12 o'clock they should have opened the border.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you travel Melchior and they start the
No,
border.
I'm not a Melchior guy. I'm not a Melchior
And then
guy.
you will, when you go to Champu, I go drunken man there, brother. And then when you try to cross back up that 10, 11 at night time, no taxi there overhead the border. So one night I was to get your people and they had to go in on a ride there, right?
Yeah, I think...
And our problem that so authorities look into the border because they close the border too early now. Watch how you go walk across the border after 10 during the week, you know. That's the way I used to do in my time. Straight like a man.
So you don't Melchior guy, you into Melchior?
I'm a Kyle man. I know where they go on a Kyle, right?
Respect.
When I really I didn't carry no paper, like a man to the ball I had a champung. And I got a champung, but they put it for your scratch. But I want to back to people, right? Because
I think...
You know, they lead the van, they run for Benke to Santa Elena or so, right? And the bus there, that every 2 hours, the people have to know about the board up the land, brother. I don't know if that gets the people here, brother.
All right, so, listen, in a very short period of time, the Kikaka community is reeling and grieving losing a teenager, a youth, a basketball player, his mom posting up, praying, hoping that her son is going to recover, and he did not. They're dealing with that. The van in which the team was traveling in, that flipped. We have a Coast Guard, outstanding Coast Guard recruit. We lose on a motorbike. We have a teenager, 13 years old, full of wildness and all that energy, thief chance with the motorbike, ends up dead. Then to top it off, we had this horrific incident. We cannot look at this as separate situations, because that's not what's going on here. We need to create a response that is adequate, that is well thought out, but we need to be prompt with it while we fight all the other things that we have to fight. We can't call time out, and we can't say, wait, make I deal with this now. We have to be at our very best, be very focused, be very serious, and right now I have to be serious about running the show. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to 2 Cents Camp, sponsored by Fort Point Security, and then we take our first break of the morning. When we come back, we're going to have some traffic in the house. This is Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes, Tuesday, 10th December, 2024.
Watching WB, and this is XTV, and we're going in the neighborhood just to find out how the people in the neighborhood prepare for the Christmas. All right, so I'm going to find out people at 2 cents.
I want money for the Christmas and then I feel good.
Don't say it.
I want to give me money.
Yeah, 2 cents.
Yes, sir.
All right, 2 cents. What's your name, my friend? How your Christmas look? Huh? How you look? All right, we'll take that 2 cents question today. You ready for the Christmas?
Already long time.
Mm-hmm. Tell the people there.
Well, for right now, I open from 5.
Yeah.
So whenever you wake up, morning time, if you want to pass you go pass you, and you will serve it with a smile.
That's right. And where we got?
We got the product we got right now. I got chicken. In a chicken, beside chicken, I got pork.
Yeah.
Right? Anything in a chicken, you can get. You get leg and thigh, you get wings, you get cuts, you get breast, boneless breast.
Yeah.
Neck and back, wings. All right. Yes, man.
You're 2 cents.
Yes, man. That's my 2 cents question for the day.
All right.
God bless.
This must look for you. How you look?
Not really looking on that, but making sure we have food on the table and the bills are paid.
That is
I don't
it.
want a real Christmas thing unless you have little children, right?
Don't say that is it.
We always want our children to be happy. But I don't have no leave baby again.
You're 2 cents. You're 2
I don't feel it, I don't see it yet.
You're 2 cents.
That's my 2 cents.
on the show today, we're booked live on air. It's one of those weird things where the booking was done in public view. We've been tracking a series of articles that have been done by some of the prominent journalists in the country. Primarily, we've tracked those that are part of our movement and that we feel are the best. And those conversations have really been centered on the marine resources, the management, and the primary stakeholders in that resource. We've had articles that we've discussed from Marisol Amaya, looking at the exclusive economic zone and its potential. We've looked at articles from Marco Lopez looking at what we call the contention about the state of our fisheries and our finfish stock. And out of that, we've had multiple calls come from both the guests who are partners in the Belize Fisheries Project and the Belize Federation of Fishers. We have the president of the Belize Federation of Fishers, Brother Nigel Martinez, and we have his consultant, George Maivit, who has been served many years as a part of the regulatory management, serving the public. He actually taught me marine science when I was in school, and he's also been part of, I think you still are, part of the reform process of the Belize Peace Movement. So you're a man of many hats. And so we want to say good morning and welcome to you both. And primarily this visit was out of, finally, there was some kind of informal response, because after these articles were written and discussed, put out in the public, published in their mandala, the Belize Fisheries Department has been they've not had anything to say. It's been cricket. And so last week the press had a chance to speak with Ms. Beverly Wade, who, while she's no longer the head of the fisheries, she's involved with the Blue Bond, and she's the most known face of fisheries management and regulation, because she's put in her time there. And so she went on the record. Some of these issues started when she was still there in charge, and then we also heard from the ED of the TNC speaking about, her response to these articles as well. And you called in, Nigel, but I told you we didn't have enough time. So what I will do is for you and both, George, just to give me an open contribution as to what your initial feelings were when you heard or read or saw what the former head of fisheries had to say in response to the question of the state of our fish stock.
Well, first of all, good morning, and thank you for having us here. As always, we have a mandate to the Federation, and that mandate is education, capacity building, and advocacy. So our goal is to ensure that we have a sustainable fishery, and by all means we're going to advocate for that. So when we heard the response from the former fisheries administrator, we felt very, very discouraged, dissatisfied, and displeased. Why am I saying that, Mose? Because this fisheries project has been an ongoing project since 2021. And I have the receipts to show, because the former fisheries administrator was the first person in line of contact that the Belize Fisheries Project reached out to. So for them to be so dismissive at this stage is very alarming. But I'll go further into details because, as I mentioned, it started back in 2021, and the acting fisheries administrator currently right now has been a part of those discussions. And it's so alarming because we have been reaching out to the fisheries department for years, asking for information, asking to be a part of the discussion, asking to be a part of the table, at the decision-making table. And they have always dismissed us, tell us that we do not speak for the voice of the fishers, and kind of weed us out and basically do pockets of fishers that they want to associate with. So it was very, very, very alarming. The information that we received from the Belize Fisheries Project allowed us to confirm what our fisher folks have been saying for years, that we have been seeing these declines. So it is outrageous for them to continue to be dismissive, and also for the fact now that TNC is saying, listen, you guys need to talk. We encourage them to talk. I'm amazed. I applaud TNC. However, TNC, as the administrator of this Blue Bond loan, should be in a position not only to call for them to come to the table, but to demand for them to come to the table, because we have to understand what is at stake. It's 30% of our marine space that is going to be designated as marine protected areas, and that has a significant influence on the livelihood and well-being of our fishers. You know, during our research, a government official indicated to our researcher that they would dare any person to bring a fisher folk that is being marginalized by these implementation of all these marine protected areas. We have significant amount of members who are being marginalized currently. You know, so we just wanted to come here to kind of outline the facts that the Belize Fisheries Project have been in dialogue with several high government officials inside and outside of the Fisheries Department since 2021. But I'll go even further, Mose, because while we are here sitting right now and we're talking about this, and while the journalists were doing their investigation, the BFF was a part of the team that led the Freedom of Information request. And in that request, we got to find out that the acting fisheries administrator back in 2023, you know, back in 2023, recommended to the Fisheries Advisory Board to basically discontinue all communication with the Belize Fisheries Project because they were not satisfied that the information that the Fisheries Project was presenting to this nation on the stock of our fishery was damning to their reputation. So from 2023, this recommendation had took place. Unknowing to the Belize Fisheries Project, they were still reaching out to these government officials in order for them to come to the table, participate, set up a scientific working group for us to analyze what is taking place in our stocks.
Good morning, WB.
Brother Mose.
Yes, my brother.
Brother Mose, what you talking about this morning?
Why are you never able to just...
Well, because I was seeing you on XTV just now, and I watched one clip about fishing something, but that's it.
Yeah, we have the folks from the Belize Federation of Fishers here discussing this ongoing saga of lack of respect, if I may to put it in a very in a nutshell. There's this whole standoff that's been going on, this stakeout, and so they're here to give their position on some of the things that have been said and put out there, and what they want to see happen. So I know you know nothing about fish except that maybe.
Well, more than that, 2 cents are put into this. I would tell you what I would love the fisheries to do. The fisheries need to have some bite in their bark. All right. Let's say, for example, we get a guy taking out on the side of fishing in a no fish zone. We need to completely remove them. We don't fine you and hold you because you will do it again. You know, growing up, I had no respect for fishing. But I'll tell you something. I went to work for Turner Flats, right? And there was a guy at Turner Flats. I didn't like this guy. His name was Mr. Craig Hayes. He was so, I thought he was just a pain in the ass. But I got to know the man. And I got to know this man loving fishing so much that he made me find a new respect for fishing rules and regulations. You know, when I go out there, I used to say, Mr. Craig, look at how many fish we have. Why don't we have a season instead of these white guys come and stand holding trying to get more fish? We get tired and get a release. Why don't we have a season? And that guy said, oh my God, look.
A season for what, birds? Birds, a season for what? One season for what? For do what with the bony fish?
So that we could just have like 2 months where we get some, and then we make, so that the population don't go million.
Oh, you mean you want 2 months of bony fish panades?
But you got to be right. Anyway,
all right.
Mr. Craig took me in the office the evening and he said, look, he said, sit down here. And we had a good talk. And when we left there, he said, look, how much do you think a pound of bony fish is worth? And I said, maybe $20, $10, you know? And when we left there that evening, we came out to about $688 a pound. And he made me realize it's better for that fish to be in that water there more for beliefs than we eating it.
All right.
Because we won't have a limit. We do not respect the rules. For example, Mose, if you go to Miami and you dive and they tell you want to take one fish on our side, Mose, you're going to pay $400 to get to the fish. You understand me? They're not joking. Here, it is a joke. It is a joke. The guy from Guatemala gets caught. He gets fined a little more than money. The guy from Sardinia, which is Dominican, the deal gets so stiff. And the Guatemalans are the people who come and reap everything. We can't eat turtle anymore, but they eat the turtle. Understand me? So I feel that what we need is some bite out there, some real confiscate your boat, confiscate, take my license. If you get again, you go to prison for 5 years. I mean,
all right, my brother, I got to give thanks to your contribution. And I even know you know about water. You know a little bit about it. All right.
Yeah.
Respect.
Right? But I will wait. They can finish this.
No, man.
There is a guy out there, the same guy. We have the huge fish there at the dock. I'm telling you, 80-pound fish at his dock. And you know, he comes to the fisheries and buy the fish. He doesn't even buy from the fishermen anymore. He said because somebody kill the wrong fish or fillets and then they want. He doesn't. He brings his big ice box and spends hundreds of dollars to bring. Why don't you just get the guy? He has 11 fishing guys go fishing every day. He taught them how to use circle hooks so that they don't damage or hurt the fish. Because this is what his passion is. Now when you have that kind of passion like this guy, you make other people, you infect people, because I'm infected by it. I will not buy a fish if it's too small, a lobster if it's too small, a conch if it's too small. And I go to the fish market and I cut all the guys. I tell you, I damage my own happiness. Because of the talk about some people like the lobster with the young man, lobster and lobster, brother. And they have a reason why they have a season. And they have a reason why they have a size limit. And if you eat it out, then you never have, you understand me? So, it might mean that. But anyway, Mose, call me back because
call me back later on.
I want to say, but I don't want to bother anybody with the fish. Right,
all right, cool, respect. The man then just start, but call him more. The man then just start. You may kind of, this is just for here. We've been talking about this, George, and we've had these articles, and now we have this conversation, and we've been trying to have the non-fisherman, the non-fisherwoman, maybe even they might not even eat fish. Why this present state of the relationship between this very large organization of fisher folk and people that you should have a very stable and very productive relationship with the regulator, also the people who are involved with advocating for management and conservation and who are presently corralled within this whole Blue Bond process. Why is this important to everyday Belizeans? Why do they need to try to understand where they happen and what this mean if this situation is not stabilized?
Yes, protocol would dictate that I say good morning to Belize. Luke, the brother Luke, I think that he hit on a number of points, and I would essentially condense what he has said by reminding the public that fishery resources are finite, and if you deplete them to the extent that they go extinct, extinction is forever. And so in a sense, the mission and vision of the Belize Federation of Fishers should be coincident with that of the Fisheries Department. I have spent 27 years of my professional life at Fisheries. I have been volunteering with the BFF for the last 2 years or so. And the difference in terms of my terms of Fisheries versus with the BFF is that I was there as a manager and as a scientist. And in that context, I dealt with the scientific and the management side of it. Volunteering for the BFF, I am now looking at the human side of it. When we talk about sustainability, we say one narrative is that there are 3 pillars of sustainability. There is the social side, there is the ecological side, and there's the economic side of sustainability. There is no shortage of voices for the economic and the ecological side. Belize is overrun by NGOs, conservation-related NGOs. The problem that we have is that for you to actually realize the goal of sustainability, you have to strike the right balance, and that is not going on. And so my concern is that while the conservation NGOs have found a niche, and that niche is being developed to its highest degree, and the economic side of it has been sort of long established, but is also threatened, the fishers themselves are really the primary threatened species. The manatees have advocates, the tarpon has advocates, the brother talked about bony fish. Bony fish have advocates. You know who don't have advocates? The species Homo sapiens sapiens pisces, the fisherman. And the fisherman is important as any of the other stakeholders.
But it's not that they don't have advocates, it's that the advocates are not being respected.
Well, in a sense, no, but so they, yeah, you know, I mean, really it's not that they do, but I think the voices of those on the other side has found favor with policymakers. And so when you look at a BFF that is now saying they are the fishing cooperatives, and the fishing cooperatives are essentially marketing organizations. The BFF is now saying, listen, it's about time that we treat very, very seriously with the human side of this. There's the issue of employment, there's the issue of food security, and there's the issue of common sense. That if you were to not be careful and respectful of the sustainability of the fish stocks themselves, then you're injuring the country, you're injuring foreign exchange, you're injuring food security, and you're injuring livelihood. So this is why we are in it.
And so before I go to break, how do you end up with the stakeholder that is non-science becoming the largest, loudest voice saying get the science right, and it is the regulator that is pushing back against science that has superior efficacy and superior methodology? How do you end up with that the fisherman, they say make or use science rather than the other entities involved?
Well, I would say that there seem to have been perhaps, and I say seem to because I'm not in there anymore, I'm now retired. There seemed to have been a shift in terms of de-emphasizing the whole issue of sharing information. Marco and the other journalists have tried to engage Fisheries Department. Marco, I think, had to basically cite an act that talks about the disclosure of public information before they got a response from Fisheries Department. And when you look at the response that they got, Marco was asking for the science. What Marco got was some tables with production figures. And so Marco himself, I think in his articles, pointed out that he has not gotten the science so that he himself can come to some objective judgment. This is a change in the culture of Fisheries Department. What I know is that we have been, when I was there, one of the obligations that Belize Fisheries had was to generate information on statistics, production, species, etc., that was communicated to the FAO. Our partners, and when I say our partners, the BFF partners, is the Summit Foundation in all of this. The Summit Foundation has spent millions, tens of millions of dollars in Belize over the last decade or so. And they have found out that since 2016, there has been no regular submission of data to the Food and Agriculture Organization. Why am I saying this? I am saying this because science is critical in terms of resource management. And if people are not aware of what the science is, then you're heading down the wrong road. We are saying from the standpoint of the BFF is there is science, and then there's better science, and then there's great science. We have been saying, listen, we are not choosing side. If we keep this on an issue level, we want the best science to be available to all stakeholders, including the Fisheries Department that has the regulatory management. We want our fishers to be advised by science so that we can plan our advocacy campaign and our education campaign properly. And so we have been saying, it's not so much a matter of who's right and who's wrong. It's a matter of what is it that we can find common ground on. I will tell you that personally, knowing all the players, I see Fisheries Department as a part of the solution. I do not even see them as an adversary. Because if you keep it on an issue level and we say, well, let us objectively look at the science. What is it that the BFF has done? We have been in partnership with the Summit Foundation to say, let us try and bring the Fisheries Department to the table so that we can look at the science that was not generated in Cuba or some other place in the Caribbean, but that has been generated here in Belize. The data that the Summit Foundation has and that they analyze goes back to 1950. They have done a part of what they have done, and I'm not sure that this is a part of the fisheries conversation, is that they have done some correction to the data that we have been harvesting. So, for example, if you look at fisheries statistics, they will tell you that, just for argument's sake, 700,000 pounds of conch has been exported. And a lot of the data that Fisheries Department used in its models to say what the stocks are is devoid of the local sales and the illegal fishing and the undersized conchs that finds its way not where it's supposed to be. So when you look at the science of it, it goes back to how robust is the science that the Summit Foundation, that the BFF has looked at and we are comfortable with. How does that stack up against fisheries science? or the Science and Fisheries Department, what we have found, what is the great divider here? The great divider of how valid that science is that when you do science, you want peer review. It means that the people who are in science would examine and comment on that science. That is what carried the Summit Foundation science. We have been saying to Fisheries Department, it's not that we doubt you, but we have had publications, numerous publications from Summit Foundation. Where is your publication so that we can have this meeting of the minds for the common good?
We take a break and come back, gentlemen.
Zingmas 2024. That's right, it's a Zingmas celebration.
welcome back to the WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. It's unfortunate with our guests because this topic is as long as it's wide and as deep. It's like an ocean. We have with us the Executive Director of the Belize Federation of Fishers, and it's Brother Nigel Martinez, and we have consultant to the BFF, Brother George Myville. And this conversation is in response to an informal off the record, well, not off the record, but it was kind of like not some kind of press release or press conference. The Fisheries Department has not said anything. And what we have been trying to do is to make the non-fisher folk kind of understand the magnitude of this situation. Because we have one organization where the Navy Fire end up give some support for make some of we prime time journalists put some serious investigative work and turn on a serious light on these issues, put it front away, they the pages of the Mandela, they on social media, they on conversations that go on the TV. This can't be for nothing. It can't be that all of this happen and then we just they right back the same point report again. The fisher folk, the BFF, they get treated with a stiff arm. And so we want you, the public, understand why this matters. And for me, I'm telling the brothers, and I've said this before on this show, fishing is a refuge profession. In Belize, we have some refuge profession where people run for a refuge, where they get left behind. Remember that we lose for a very long time half of the people enroll in Infant 1 primary school. By the time they reach 6th farm. Many of them know they reach 4th farm. The people that get left behind, and then out of just survival instinct, some of the people find something when they grab onto, for not getting in harm's way and in trouble. Stevedore is our refuge profession. DJing, our refuge profession. Barbering, our refuge profession. But just from a statistical standpoint, the #1 refuge profession that believes the fishing. About 3,000 licensed, registered fishing people where, you know, it's like for their knowledge and expertise is as valuable as somebody who gone and get one bachelor's in or whatever, and get a bachelor's in and then gone and do it per water. Then go and do it per boat. If you come from starting here upon one of the fishing boat, you come from down south, you start up on Dory, then from there to skiff. You start the Belize upon the skiff out of Vernon Street, out of Yaba. This that your bachelors. So when we talk about this matter, we need to talk about something insignificant. This is one major part of the makeup. We still stabilize the society, even though we lose it, but still this is our anchor. And trouble the inner the water. Trouble the inner the water with the science, trouble the inner the water with climate change, and trouble the inner the water with the way the Blue Bond is being implemented. And we can't play deaf to that. So that Christmas, we get it. We got long breaks because of Christmas, brother. So I like more words than talk time.
Yes.
But we have to break through the noise.
Yeah.
We can't wait till after Christmas to deal with the real.
Yeah.
And Brother George may say during the break that the people have to understand the size of the risk to what is taking place now.
Yes. Mose, what is happening, and where there's a divide between obviously Fisheries Department and the BFF in terms of where the science is and where the stocks are. We have said that based on the science that we respect and that we would underscore 17 of the 20 species that have been studied. And this is everything from grouper, snapper, and when you say snapper, there's not one species. There's over 300 species of snappers globally. When you say grouper, there's a number of grouper, rockfish, Jimmy Hyde, it's that whole crowd. When you look at
unfortunately.
So when you look at most of the species that you will go to the market and you will buy in terms of fin fishes, those are under threat. It means that they are being harvested, and they are being harvested in a way that you're taking out more than there is being, we call it recruitment. That is what is happening. And you're not only taking out more in terms of quantum, you're taking out these species when they have not had a chance to reproduce. You're taking out the juveniles. And if you are taking out an animal that has not had a chance to reproduce, it means that replenishment is not going on. So it's not just the quantum of it to take out, but what you're taking out. The same thing is happening for lobster, and the same thing is happening for conch. And so we're saying that Fisheries Department has a different view of this, and we're asking them, come to the table and let us discuss the science of this, because it has serious implications. It has serious implications. What we're saying is that the fishers, Mose, and fishers are really the last small stakeholder group that is left in Belize, you know. And when you talk about 3,000 fishers, it's actually more than 3,000 fishers. The problem that we have is that we have an open access fishery. It means that everybody could go in the fisheries department who is a Belizean, who is a legal resident for a fishing license.
Yeah.
But what that means is that if you have an unlimited amount of fishers in there going after the same pie, it means two things. It means that the pie is getting thinner per fisher, and it means that some fishers will not be able to cope. And a number of fishers are being displaced from the industry. You don't see this in the foreign press, and you don't see this in the newspapers or in the media itself. But fishers are under a lot of pressures to continue to make a living.
And when a fisher give up a boat, you don't make news.
You don't make news.
When Augusta Kwan close down, you make news, boy.
Most one of the things that fishers have, and I'll go to Niger in a little bit, is that sadly a number of fishermen have not been paying social security. A number of the fishers from the 70s, 60s, 70s are now in their 80s and 90s, and they have nothing to fall back on. So there's a kind of tragedy there that when you look from it from the human side, fishers are really under a lot of threat. When you look at it from the standpoint of the stakeholders, the primary stakeholders are obviously the fishers, but there's also the NGO community. There's a lot of money associated with Blue Bond that is coming in to rescue the oceans. I was at a forum about 3 months ago where the Blue Bond Ministry of the Blue Economy basically said that thus far $18 million has been demarcated, has been actually spent already. And of this 18 million, you know how much fishermen got? 0. So when you look at the problem going forward, you have to realize that nobody is really looking at the fortunes and the future of fishers in this whole conservation equation. And that is very troubling. It is very troubling because in a sense, you're creating poverty. You're creating more poverty. This has been documented. What the Blue Bond is doing, the Blue Bond is strong in terms of, it's a debt for nature swap as we know. And what the Blue Bond is doing, it is reserving no-take areas that are traditionally fished by fishers. Absent from the equation is, if you are shrinking the geographic space that more fishers are coming into the industry with, then in a sense, you are injuring their livelihood in terms of what they can catch and where they can go. And so there has to be almost a remake of that equation to say, wait. But you're forgetting the 5,000-pound elephant in the room. You are forgetting over 3,000 fishers. You have not spoken to that. And there has to be a reset, Mose. We cannot continue down the road of marginalizing our fishers. But maybe more with your permission, I would want to ask Nige to speak on the issue of the blue band.
So I want to talk directly to the Belizean public and to the fisher folks, because they have to understand how critical of a situation we are in. And I want to speak directly to the government officials who have said that fisher folks are not being marginalized by the implementation of these marine protected areas, these new marine protected areas. In 2016, Mose, we have recognized the issue that we need to transition, and we need to ensure that we make the necessary changes to the fishery. We applied to an organization called JICA for a grant to build a modernized processing plant, fish processing plant. We needed the approval from the Fisheries Department. We got denied. In 2018, we went back to them, to the same organization, but the property side of that organization, a component, to get another grant, and that grant was to purchase a deep sea vessel in order to venture into deeper waters. We got denied from the Fisheries Department. Then came along the MCAP project, which had a deep slope component to that as well. We were boxed out. Then you have the IDB grant that yielded 1.6 million US dollars that was supposed to disburse to fisher folks to assist them because of that hurricane that they had experienced. Again, that money has not been disbursed. And I say all of that to now show the contrast. Here you have the blue bond. In 2021, we could not service our debts. The government went and did a debt for nature swap. The investors wanted three things: 30% of our seas, which 15% they wanted as high protected biodiversity zones, and 15% as medium protected biodiversity multi-use zones. They also wanted a conservation fund, and they also wanted a marine spatial plan that will chop up the different zones and area for specific users. Out of that, it was 8 milestones. 4 of them have already been achieved. 4. There's only 4 more pending. In 2028, the investors and TNC would have achieved what they wanted. The fisher folks and us, the Belizean people, will have to deal with the rest. And I am saying that because Uncle George touched on it a little bit. From the millions of dollars that the government said that we got in saving, which was $189 million, and I'll break that down so that the viewers can understand. 86 million of that dollars, that money went to DFC, not Belize DFC, but a US DFC, in order for political risk to secure that loan. $23.5 million is in an endowment out in the bank, some bank in New York. And that endowment is projected to earn 7% annually. So over the life of the loan, that endowment would reach 90 million US dollars. The remaining 80 to 84 million US dollars is what the conservation community is receiving. I reference them as the come along, get along crew, because they're the only one that is benefiting from this blue bond deal. So in reality, over the next 20 years, the conservation community would have received or will receive 180 million US dollars. So I want the fisher folks to take that into perspective. We went to the conservation fund for 75,000 US dollars, most 75,000 US dollars, and I have said on this platform that they are executive directors in some of these, representing some of these NGOs that are making in excess of 75,000 US dollars annually. Besides that, besides us being denied 75,000 US dollars, when you have 3,000 plus fishermen and fisher folks, and we, out of that 75,000, we were only targeting 10 boat captains and 3 crew members, which would have been 30 people. For 75,000 US dollars, we were denied. Now, because one of the condition, the commitment of the Blue Bond was for them to set up a conservation fund, the government went and formed this new NGO, which is the Belize Fund for Sustainable Future, and allocated $1 million a year for them to operate. But I want the Belizean public to understand this. From that $1 million, you have 2 budget lines that receive the bulk of that money. The emolument, which receive over $400 plus $1,000 per year, and the contractual component, which receive another 300,000 plus. So you're looking at 2 budget lines receiving over $700 plus $1,000, and all they have is 5 staff. So they denied the BFF 75,000 US dollars because they are saying that, oh, you can't manage, you're unable to manage this $75,000, you do not have the supporting staff in place, when they only have 5 staff, and they have to contract out their financial services. So I want the Belizean people to understand, and the fisher folks to understand, how critical we need to unite. We need to speak one voice. We need to stand behind the scientists who are assisting us and who are providing these technical information, these data, so that we can see the status of our fishery, and so that we can hold the fisheries department accountable as well as its partners.
I go to break, we'll be back.
mix. I want to say that in a sense, what the BFF is representing here this morning is that there needs to be an assurance and a reassurance that the marine stocks that form a part of the Belizean menu will be here for the long haul. I want to thank you, Mose, for accommodating us really at very, very short notice, and I'm hoping that this conversation will carry forward and that you'll invite us back at some point.
That's happening.
Yes.
Naja.
Yeah. And I just want to say that the BFF will continue to represent our fisher folks. This is very critical, and we need to ensure that the livelihood and well-being of our members are well respected. So we will continue to work with those who want to work with us to ensure that science play a very, very significant role in the decision and policy making. And with that, I want to also say thanks for having us, and we'll be in touch.
All right, we go to a final break, come back and wrap up. I want to thank you both for sharing your knowledge and experience with us this morning.
Zingmas 2024. That's right, it's a
at XTV The Glue, Mr. Cliff Lewis on the controls, Alex Iberlyle. Have a great Tuesday. Health and strength. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 6:30. Stand strong, stand firm. For now, we're gone!
Wake up, Billy. 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 Another day is here. Wake up, Billy. Wake up, Billy. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Billy. Wake up, Billy. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Billy. Wake up, Billy. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is the show my people. Believe our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out. This divide we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, consent.